Gary knew that it was a kind of a coincidence. See, I mean, I had been to their studio in Jacksonville, took my old man over to see Ronnie,
Mhm.
and we had been at their studio there in Riverside in Jacksonville. And Ronnie had mentioned to me, asked me, do you want to go ride with us for about 3 or 4 shows? We got our own plane and you can, maybe jam or just ride along or just be with us, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I would love to. Well, Blackfoot ended up getting shows right before they took off
Oh,
for their first show. So I couldn't go. So the afternoon they took off from Greenville, South Carolina, I came into Columbia, South Carolina. That's how fate is,
that's amazing.
And I've always believed in timing and coincidences and fate and all that stuff. Well, I was on stage that night and was just finishing up our show when a guy walked up on the side of the stage and said, "Hey man, did you used to play in Lynyrd Skynyrd?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Your buddy's had a plane crash tonight."
Oh,
And I thought the guy was just drunk and didn't know what the hell he was saying,
yeah.
And so I beat it back home and called my mom and dad, who was in, of course, Jacksonville. Called my mom and dad, and the phone hadn't even rang one time when my dad picked it up. And I said, "Pop, tell me it's not true." He goes, "It's true." He said they just came on TV and announced that Ronnie was one of the people that perished. And I was just like, oh no, I said, "What about, Gary and Alan and Billy and Leon?" He said, "Well, they've said so far that they survived." So for a while, I kind of thought to myself, maybe if I'd have been there and maybe I could have said something or, talk to somebody, talk to Ronnie or somebody, and maybe I could have made a difference, of them getting on that damn thing. Even if they had to cancel the show that night, at least they'd be able to make it up at another time, But Gary told me verbatim that Ronnie, when Ronnie made up his mind,
Mhm.
that was it. You followed the leader. So we're fast forward now.
Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I wasn't going to ask you, but thank you for giving
Yeah,
that.
sure, man. And fast forward, in 1996, we did a European run, my first European run with Lynyrd Skynyrd. And Blackfoot had already been a formidable, very popular band
Mhm.
in Europe, Well, we get on the bus that night. It's one of them double-decker buses, and we get on the bus, and I'm sitting up there, and Gary's right next to me with Dale, and Gary reached over and hit me on the arm. He said, "Where were you?" And I looked at him, I said, "Where was I? Where was I? What?" He goes, "Where were you that day?" I went, "Oh." I said, "Gary, you guys had just left Greenville and I had just come into Columbia." He goes, "Wow." I said, "Yeah." So, hey, call it. And I said, Gary, I often thought to myself, had I been there, maybe I could have said something or done something. He goes,
Yeah.
"Ricky, you couldn't, there's nothing you could have said or done." He goes, "You know what? It wasn't meant for you to be there then. It's meant for you to be here now."